When people discuss why Jungkook has become the idol standard, it is impossible to ignore HYBE's deliberate strategy. The company did not simply rely on Jungkook's natural talent or popularity. It positioned him in a way that made him nearly impossible to overlook in both domestic and global markets. To understand this, we need to examine how HYBE has used timing, branding, and diversification to set Jungkook apart from every other K-pop idol. Unlike traditional idols who are often marketed with a single defining strength, such as singing, dancing, or acting, HYBE chose to emphasize Jungkook as the all-rounder. From his earliest days with BTS, Jungkook was consistently presented as someone capable of excelling in multiple fields. Vocals. His voice has been highlighted not only in BTS's group songs, but also in solo performances that showcase both range and control. Performance. His stage presence and choreography skills placed him in the spotlight during live shows, making him the natural center in many performances. Personality, relatability. HYBE balanced the intense, polished idol image with behind-the-scenes footage, vlogs, and variety appearances that showed Jungkook's approachable and relatable side. This combination created the blueprint of what a modern idol should look like. While many idols may have one or two of these qualities, HYBE emphasized all of them in Jungkook, setting a new standard that is now nearly mandatory for trainees in newer groups. HYBE's most shocking move came with how they transitioned Jungkook from a member of a group into a solo force without weakening BTS's group identity. This is a delicate balance that many companies struggle with, but HYBE pulled it off by carefully timing Jungkook's solo releases and activities. For example, Jungkook's solo songs, endorsements, and global promotions often happened during gaps in BTS's group schedules, making them feel like natural extensions of his career rather than replacements for BTS's activities. This gave him independence as a global star without creating the impression of abandoning the group. HYBE also pushed Jungkook's solo visibility into markets where BTS had already made a mark but needed a stronger individual presence, such as the US and Japan. This is where his singles, collaborations, and performances on major stages like award shows and international broadcasts played a crucial role. HYBE understood that to make Jungkook the standard, he couldn't just be a singer. He had to become a cultural symbol. To achieve this, they leveraged fashion partnerships, brand endorsements, and lifestyle content. The most striking example is Jungkook's partnership with Calvin Klein, which not only amplified his personal brand, but also set a new bar for what it means for an idol to cross into the fashion industry. This move shocked the industry because it was not common for a K-pop idol to dominate both music charts and global luxury campaigns simultaneously. By positioning Jungkook as someone who represents not only music but also lifestyle aspirations, HYBE ensured that he became a reference point for both fans and competitors. Because of HYBE's strategic moves, Jungkook is now used as a benchmark by fans, critics, and even entertainment companies when assessing new idols. When a rookie debuts, comparisons to Jungkook are inevitable. Is this idol as versatile? Do they have the same international appeal? Can they balance group loyalty with solo potential? This benchmark effect has reshaped the industry. Other entertainment agencies now train their idols to be more versatile, media-friendly, and brand-compatible traits that HYBE highlighted in Jungkook. However, it is difficult to replicate the exact formula because HYBE had the advantage of timing, global expansion, and BTS's existing influence. So why does this strategy shock the world? The answer lies in the sheer scale of its impact. Normally, idol success remains regional or limited to niche fanbases. Jungkook's case, however, demonstrates a level of crossover appeal that is rare even for Western pop stars. When HYBE positioned him as the ultimate standard, it wasn't just for K-pop audiences, it was for the global entertainment industry. International publications, music critics, and fashion analysts now cite Jungkook as a model case of how an artist can dominate multiple sectors at once. This level of multi-industry presence was previously seen in figures like Michael Jackson or Beyoncé, but to see a Korean idol reach such territory has been unprecedented. The longer-term shockwave lies in what comes next. If Jungkook is now the idol standard, then new generations of idols face a steeper challenge. HYBE's role here is significant because the company is not only maintaining Jungkook's momentum, but also trying to replicate this success in other artists. However, it's uncertain whether anyone can reach the same global positioning without the unique circumstances that Jungkook and HYBE built together. For decades, the US music market has been notoriously difficult for international acts to break into. English-speaking artists often dominate, and even globally successful performers from other regions tend to face barriers when trying to achieve mainstream recognition in America. Jungkook, however, became a rare exception, and HYBE's carefully coordinated strategies played a huge role. Billboard success. His solo tracks such as 7 and Standing Next to You charted on the Billboard Hot 100, demonstrating not just fan-driven numbers but true market penetration. Streaming records. Platforms like Spotify and Apple Music reported record-breaking streams for his solo releases, with 7 breaking daily streaming records upon release. Collaborations with Western artists. Jungkook's features with global names like Latto or Jack Harlow were not only designed to expand his sound, but also to give him credibility within the US music scene. These collaborations demonstrated that he was not just a Korean artist breaking into the US, but a global artist collaborating as an equal. This success shocked the world because it broke the stereotype that non-English-speaking idols could not achieve solo dominance in the American music industry. HYBE used its global connections, media strategies, and promotional campaigns to ensure that Jungkook's music reached beyond K-pop circles into mainstream playlists and radio rotations. While much attention goes to the US, Jungkook's reach extends further. Europe, for instance, has seen a surge in K-pop concerts, festivals, and fan gatherings, but Jungkook's solo influence has taken things to another level. His singles topped Spotify charts in countries like the UK, France, and Germany, markets that are traditionally difficult for K-pop idols to break through individually. In Japan, where BTS already had a strong presence, Jungkook's solo activities only strengthened the group's dominance. His voice, performance style, and collaborations resonated strongly with Japanese audiences, making him a standard for how solo idols should handle regional markets. HYBE recognized the importance of localized marketing. For instance, Jungkook's campaigns were tailored differently in Japan compared to the US or Europe. In Japan, emphasis was placed on his polished visuals, variety show appearances, and language adaptability. In the US, it was about global collaborations, streaming strength, and late-night show performances. This flexible but calculated strategy allowed Jungkook to secure a dominant position in multiple regions simultaneously. One of the most fascinating aspects of Jungkook's rise is how he changed streaming culture. Data from Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music showed noticeable spikes in overall K-pop consumption whenever Jungkook released new material. Industry analysts even coined this trend as the Jungkook effect, meaning his releases not only boosted his own numbers, but also drew more attention to Korean pop music as a whole. This had wider implications. record labels. Western labels began scouting K-pop talent more aggressively, realizing that idols like Jungkook could bring international revenue streams. Streaming platforms, Spotify and Apple Music, curated more K-pop-focused playlists and gave prime placement to Jungkook's tracks, knowing his presence guaranteed engagement. Advertising models. Brands started adjusting campaigns around his release dates, understanding the global buzz would extend beyond music into fashion, lifestyle, and consumer markets. HYBE used this momentum to negotiate better partnerships, pushing K-pop further into global digital infrastructure. Essentially, Jungkook became a data-backed standard for success, making it harder for skeptics to dismiss K-pop as a passing trend. Another way Jungkook shocked the global market was through his live appearances. Unlike many idols who are confined to regional tours, Jungkook's performances were broadcast on international platforms, amplifying their reach. Appearances on major award shows, festivals, and talk shows in the US gave him credibility and visibility outside traditional fan circles. HYBE capitalized on this by ensuring Jungkook's performances were not only musical showcases but also cultural statements. The stage designs, choreography, and song selections were created to resonate with international audiences while still retaining his K-pop identity. This ability to merge Korean artistry with global sensibilities set him apart from other idols. Moreover, the shock factor lay in the scale of response. Performances trended worldwide on Twitter, X, within minutes. Clips went viral on TikTok, reaching audiences who might not have been typical K-pop listeners. Western media outlets covered his appearances alongside global superstars, treating him as a peer rather than an outsider. Perhaps the most overlooked but significant impact of Jungkook's global dominance is how it influenced record labels and their competitive strategies. His ability to chart high in Western markets caught the attention of US record companies, sparking intense interest in collaborating with or even signing him under distribution deals. This competition revealed something unprecedented. Western labels, which usually position themselves as gatekeepers, were actively trying to align with a Korean idol. HYBE's role here was crucial. Instead of surrendering control, the company structured contracts in a way that maintained Jungkook's independence while still taking advantage of Western distribution channels. The ripple effect is clear. Idols are no longer seen as international acts trying to enter the US, but as global artists who can demand equal terms. Jungkook became the symbol of this shift, forcing industry leaders to rethink how they approach Asian artists. The influence doesn't stop with music. Jungkook's activities ripple into fashion, tourism, and technology sectors. Fashion. His Calvin Klein campaigns boosted global sales, proving the measurable value of idol endorsements. Tourism. Countries like South Korea saw spikes in cultural tourism linked to Jungkook's popularity, as international fans visited locations associated with him. Technology. Platforms like Weverse and HYBE's proprietary apps gained millions of users through Jungkook's fan engagement, turning him into not just a singer, but also a digital growth driver. This level of economic influence is rare even for Western pop stars. The fact that one idol can have this kind of global market impact is exactly why Jungkook is seen as the standard. At its core, the shock comes from the fact that Jungkook's global dominance defied the assumptions long held about K-pop idols. For years, industry analysts believed that Korean artists could only achieve limited success outside Asia. Jungkook, backed by HYBE's global strategy, broke that ceiling and showed that not only could an idol enter these markets, but they could also lead them. Furthermore, The scale of influence across multiple industries, music, fashion, technology, is rarely achieved by any single artist. Jungkook demonstrated that an idol is not just a performer, but a market mover. For global audiences and competitors alike, this realization was both surprising and transformative. The long-term implications are clear. New idols will be judged not only on their talent, but also on their ability to impact global charts, brand markets, and digital ecosystems, because Jungkook has already proven it possible. Western record labels will continue to seek collaborations with K-pop idols, but they will approach them as equals rather than subordinates. HYBE, having demonstrated its capability to manage a global star of Jungkook's scale, will continue to expand its influence in the international music industry. In short, HYBE and Jungkook shocked the world by demonstrating that one idol could alter the global music market itself. The effects are measurable in data, economics, and cultural shifts, making this one of the strongest reasons why Jungkook is now the idol standard.